We are back with the wealth managers from Oasis Crescent Advisory Services, Ibrahim Raoud, Mansoor Mia and Salima Modig. And we are continuing our discussion on life staging. Mansoor, we've talked about discretionary savings. What about tax incentivized savings? Because, obviously governments, including South African government, does try to incentivize people to save, particularly for retirement. What type of tax incentivized savings are there out there?
You're absolutely right, Hassan. I mean, like you rightfully said, the three Sharia compliant balance funds, ideally discretionary saving products. In fact, we've actually got a mirror image of that on our global product offering as well. So we've got the balance high, medium, stable approach on our mutual funds, which is your dollar-based funds. From a tax-efficient pre-retirement product offering, Oasis has also got the Crescent Retirement Annuity Fund, the Crescent Preservation Pension Fund, the Crescent Preservation Provident Fund, and the Crescent Umbrella Provident Fund, where we're giving the members the opportunity of of an aggressive, moderate and stable portfolio. The three Sharia compliant balance funds are also on various investment platforms, giving a normal individual out there belonging to the employer contribution pension or provident fund scheme that he belongs to, the option of choosing any of the three balance funds as his underlying investment, hence giving him the opportunity to have his money managed in a Sharia compliant manner, and at the same time complying with Regulation 28 of the Pension Funds Act, which says all pension money must be managed according to that regulation.
Sure. Now we've obviously addressed discretionary, we've talked about tax incentivized savings. Now what about when a person retires? Has to live off an income. And I think obviously one of the key aspects is called living annuities. Now, out there you hear products such as guaranteed products or guaranteed living annuities. And I know many Muslims, use these. Firstly, are these guaranteed products or guaranteed annuity products, are they Sharia compliant? And what alternatives are there in terms of living annuities?
Listen, it's a very good point that you're making. And I think, before we answer that, we first of all need to identify who are the people eligible to invest in a living annuity. So it's those people that are retiring from a pension fund, from a provident fund, from a preservation fund, and from a retirement annuity fund. Those are members that are eligible to invest in a living annuity fund. Now, there are so many living annuity funds out there. There are guaranteed living annuities, and we get so much comfort out of that word guarantee. What are we guaranteeing, Hassan? Then we have investment-linked living annuities. So when you look at a guaranteed living annuity, first of all, Hassan, it's not Sharia compliant. Why? Are we attaching a value to someone's life? And that's in essence what we're actually doing. We understand the insurance industry, they use this concept called the mortality tables or the life expectancy tables. So they know the day, the time, the month of the year I'm actually going to pass on. Now, I would love to know that date, but we don't. And we need to be able to unpack that and see how the guaranteed annuity products have come into play. What they're actually doing is offering you an annuity for a defined period in time. So they offer you a 5-year investment period, a 10-year investment period, or a 15-year investment period. And the insurance company tells you that they will pay you an annuity for that number of years. Now, if I choose a 10-year guaranteed period and I pass on in the 5th year, it means my spouse only earns 50% of the annuity for the remainder of the 10 years. At the end of the 10-year period, that investment then dies with her. So somewhere along the line, the spouse is disadvantaged because she's only earning half of it. And the children that are the ultimate beneficiaries of this money is actually not going to end up getting anything. So what Oasis has introduced in our product range is a very simple concept. It's an investment-linked living annuity. And that is a product that is going to pay you this pension for life. And life can be 5 years, it can be 20 years, it can be 30 years. We make dua that, we all strive for good long health, but we don't know what the date is going to be. But the day you pass on, Hassan, the beneficiary that you've nominated can then either take all the money as a lump sum, can continue to earn a pension, or take a combination of a pension and a lump sum. And by the way, Hassan, if my spouse was the beneficiary and she says, I don't want to earn the income, I don't want to take the lump sum, I want to continue earning the income. So she that was the beneficiary now becomes the policy holder, and she in return nominates a beneficiary. So the day she passes on, that money gets passed on to the next level of beneficiaries. So in essence, what I've worked for during my lifetime, I've enjoyed during my lifetime, but I've left a legacy for my wife and my children and children's children to enjoy.
Sure. So essentially speaking, basically, you're now leaving a lasting legacy for your family, and it's obviously it's creates sustainability, creates. We've talked about a lot about wealth building, wealth creation. This is all about it.
What a pleasure to say that your great-grandchildren could still be enjoying the fruits of that living annuity.
Exactly. Now, Salima, if you look at the investment-linked living in annuity product itself, maybe just talk us through the dynamics of this product and how it impacts everyone.
The investment-linked living annuity, Hassan, basically gives the policyholder greater levels of control. Firstly, one of the most important would be the policyholder is able to choose a fund of the offering, dependent, of course, whether it's available on the investment platform, etc. And of course, one of the most fundamental rights of the policyholder would be a Sharia-compliant investment. Secondly, the policyholder has the option to select a drawdown rate, and legally that would be between 2.5% up to 17.5%. The other option, and most important, is that the policyholder has the option of nominating beneficiary or beneficiaries, so that investment may be dealt with in terms of the policyholder's wishes at the time of their death.
Sure. Now, Mansoor, obviously, with this type of product, there are certain risks as well. What type of risks, are they within this product?
Because with investments, there's obviously always a risk involved when one's investing. I think with the living annuity, three risks that I'll maybe speak about, or three risks to mention. I would say asset class risk is having your money exposed to one asset class. Then we've got market risk, which is markets volatility. Markets do go up and down. But the one I want to maybe focus on, and I think it's the most important when we're speaking about living annuities, is the drawdown risk. Legislation, as Salima rightfully said, by law, you can draw anything from 2.5% to 17.5% per annum. At Oasis, we've adapted a policy, and research has shown us that for an investor to draw a drawdown rate of between 6 to 8%, he would effectively be able to maintain his quality and standard of living for probably the rest of his lifetime. The importance of drawing 6 to 8%, bearing in mind, let's take, for example, an investor that's drawing 14 to 15% as an income. In order for him to maintain his capital alone, let alone the capital within that living annuity to grow, just to maintain capital, he'd need to get an investment portfolio that's giving him a return of 16, 17% plus. That's just to maintain capital. And that, I think, is where the biggest mistake comes in from an investor investing in a living annuity. They might have been used to these high salaries, and when they come up to retirement, in order to maintain that 25 or 20,000 rand salary, he's having to draw 14 and 15%. And I believe that's probably the biggest mistake, and the only shortfall from a living annuity is one needs to be self-disciplined. Try and maintain a drawdown rate of 6 to 8%. So if the fund is giving you, bearing in mind you're at retirement, you're going to choose a stable portfolio. You're not going to be in the aggressive or moderate portfolio. Giving you a return of 9 to 12% in a stable portfolio. If you're drawing 6 to 8%, you're covering what you've drawn out, and maybe add 3 to 4% on top of your capital for that period. And that's ideally what you want from a living annuity. The problem with drawing more than the 15%, you ultimately come into a position where you start eating into your capital, and your money would only, or your pension money would only last you for 10 to 12 years, or even 15 years for that matter. What happens after that? One of four things. You either become dependent on state pension, which what can you do with that amount of money currently, Hassan? It's not a lot of money to live off. You probably, without doubt, have to drop your quality and standard of living that you were used to. You're probably going to have to look for a job at that late stage in your life. Very difficult to find a job at 60, 65. And we find a lot of members in our community, in those positions, looking for a job at that stage. And lastly, you become, not right to say it, but you become a burden on a younger family because you're dependent on your family for financial assistance. When at that stage your son or daughter, they're building up their families. They probably got their own nuances in their lifetime. I mean, I don't believe anybody would want to find themselves in a position where they're dependent on their family for financial assistance. You want to retire in a dignified manner and be financially independent up until the day you're gone eventually, inshallah.
Sure. So I think, Ibrahim, to conclude, in terms of those that are currently in a existing living annuity or a guaranteed living annuity product, can they transfer to a investment and Sharia compliant living annuity?
Listen, a member of a living annuity can transfer to another approved living annuity. However, if you are in a guaranteed living annuity, you cannot transfer. So it's important that before you make that decision about wanting to invest in a guaranteed living annuity, that you consult a financial advisor. Let him identify the pitfalls. Let him identify the negatives. Not be sold on the basis that it's a guarantee and I've got no problems in life. The problems are going to come when you are not here today, when you're not here one day. When you look at the investment-linked living annuity and the fact that you are able to transfer, listen, there must be thousands of viewers out there that are investing in a living annuity. They don't know where the monies are invested. They don't know the risk that they're being associated with. So speak to us. Let us guide you. Let us show you the light. And let us become a solution to ensuring that your investment that you've worked for all your life is now in a compliant manner and it subscribes to the principles that you stand for, and that is your ethical values and your religious values.
Many thanks to the wealth managers from Oasis Crescent Advisory Services, Mansoor Mia, Salima Modek, and Ibrahim Rawood. Until we meet again, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
We've come to the end of our show. Many thanks once again to our guests. Firstly, from the investment team from Oasis Group Holdings, Ismail Ibrahim and Fahad Sheikh. And then the wealth managers from Oasis Crescent Advisory Services, Ibrahim Rawood, Mansoor Mia and Salima Modik. If you would like more information about Oasis and its products, please contact us on 0860 100 786 or you can visit our website on www.oasiscrescent.com. Now viewers, please tune in to next week's program. We have a very special program lined up. And in fact, we have a very special gift to you. In fact, an Eid gift to give you during the end of this month of Ramadan. So we look forward to seeing you next week. Until we meet again, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.